Hi, I'm Natalie from Yogadreads. I'm just going to have a look at a few movements that might really help your shoulders and your wrists in terms of both mobility as well as softening them if they feel like they're taking a lot of pressure in your other work. So this is really whether you're doing work in terms of your daily routine or in terms of the sessions you're doing and maybe placing extra pressure on them. Everyone's wrists and shoulders over time can ache in different ways, and really it's about support. So you should have good flexibility in your shoulders and wrists, but sometimes that feels inhibited because they never really move. So we're going to look at, to begin with, some really basic functional movement because they can just get a bit frozen up. Other than not moving them in our daily routines and then being asked to when we start to undertake physical exercise, what sometimes happens is that we get tension and stress, and that also adds to that kind of tightness that you feel. So this is really about relaxing as much as anything else. It's quite common that we feel tension here. So part of our journey here is to drop the shoulders away from the ears. The movement of the shoulder and the neck and the arm are really connected. So you have to think about this in terms of the whole body. So when we move the arm or the wrist, we really want to think about what it's doing for the rest of the body. So movements that people find difficult sometimes is the idea of bringing their hand behind their back or their arms over their head or both arms together over here. Now this is all about the whole body working as one movement. If you're just thinking about moving the shoulder, it's quite hard. The rest of the body has to engage to find the movement. So we're going to start by working this simple exercise to feel where the body works and where it doesn't, where you hold your tension and tightness and where you can release it. So start by stretching your arms out long with your palms facing the ceiling. So a real extension out. You're looking for a big enough reach that you almost start to feel a little pull on the underside of the arm. So they feel like they're working. This is great for your bingo wings. So reach as far as you can. Now you're going to imagine that someone's holding your palm up, so it's not going to turn to the floor straight away. And I want you to think about rolling your shoulders forward. So this might be easier to do with one arm at a time. So I'm going to keep my right arm extended out, and I'm going to think about the palm touching the ceiling. And if it's useful, you can take a block or a book and try and keep it on your hand. And roll your shoulder forward and roll your shoulder back. So you're thinking about your shoulder actually moving forward and back. The block's not going to stay there, okay? So what you're going to try and do now is roll it forward and move your upper arm forward and back. You can see now I'm starting to really move from under here. So the shoulder moves forward and the upper arm and then back. You can release the block because it's going to fall. Shoulder moves forward, upper arm, lower arm, and resist the movement in the lower arm and the palm. So the palm's trying to stay to the ceiling, the lower arm is trying to move to the floor. Lastly, let the palm rotate. And by this time you've moved the entire arm in its rotation. Once you've found that, come back. So what we've gone from is just this idea of turning the hand to turning the whole arm and lastly the hand, okay? And this makes a significant difference in the mobility that you'll find in rotating through your shoulders. You might find this feels a bit crunchy in the neck and shoulders. It's just really where you don't use that part of your body very well. So give it time, go easy, don't overwork it. So find that movement again. Upper arm, so shoulder, upper arm, elbow, lower arm, and lastly the hand, and then back again. And then come down. By this time, you should feel like the arm's actually working. Take the other side exactly the same. So you can start to really find that movement and being strict by giving yourself a block for the shoulder and upper arm movement. So shoulder moves forward and upper arm starts to turn. It's a real resistance through the elbow. You'll feel the underside of the elbow feeling like it's really getting some work. So back again. Shoulder moves forward, upper arm tries to turn, and then back again. Release the block. Or your book, whatever it is. Not a cup of tea. Shoulder moves forward, upper arm, lower arm, and then lastly, really resisting that, let the palm turn. And then back again. And take that movement again. So shoulder, upper arm, keep that palm turned, lower arm, resist the movement. Lastly, let that roll. You can see how far you can come round. Get the block all the way around if you're holding it, and then back. So now we're going to add a movement in the elbow. So we're going to have that extension out. You can take one arm at a time if it's easier to learn with. You're going to go shoulder, upper arm, lower arm, palm, and then bend the elbow and bring the hand up the back as high as you can, and then release back out and turn and come back up to here. So you're bending the elbow both ways. So extend out, turn the palm, roll forward, get the whole arm rolling, bend the elbow, bring the hand up as high as you can up the back, so you're really reaching up towards your shoulders. I'll spin round and coming back out. So take the same on the other side. So I'll stay this way so you can see on this side the movement in your shoulder through your back. So extend the arm out, roll the shoulder forward, upper arm, elbow, lower arm, lastly the hand, and then bend the elbow and bring the hand up the back to wherever it gets to. You might be stuck here, so just keep moving it. The only way you're going to gain more movement is by repeatedly doing the same movement again. Come back out. Turn the palm. Shoulder, upper arm, lower arm, palm. Bend the elbow, bring the arm up the back, extend back out, turn to halfway, come back up. So this movement you can play with and have this as a repetition before or after you do work through your shoulders. You can take them both together. Palms out. You have to concentrate quite hard now. Really think about keeping the palms facing up. Shoulders forward, upper arms forward. Keep the palms facing up. Elbows moving forward. Really reach through the little finger up. The lower arm starts to turn and last the palms. And then once you find your palms facing behind you, bend the elbows and bring the arms crossing them up the back and back out. Bend the elbows coming up. Flat palms up, shoulders roll, upper arm, elbow, lower arm, palm. Bend the elbows, bring the arms up the back and then coming back out halfway and release. So this allows you to find this rotation through your shoulders, your arms, your elbows and your wrists. If you're doing a lot of practice and weight bearing on your hands or loading through your wrists, you might start to feel the wrists feel aggravated. So there's some simple movements you can add into a gentle routine to help soften the wrist. So we're going to play with this next. So if you've got a prop or a block, just move it out of the way and come onto your knees. I'm warning you that this may look a bit daft, but it's a really nice therapeutic feeling for your wrists. You're going to place your hand on the mat. The back of the wrist is connected to the floor. So what we're going to look for here is full rotational movement, but without any weight bearing, okay? This is often used as a therapeutic treatment, kind of osteopath. So you might have come across this before. Back of the wrists on the floor and turn so that the elbow moves away from you. Okay, so the elbow moves out to the side on the right, the elbow moves to the right and forward. And then you're going to lean back and try and roll your wrist around the floor as if you had a band or an elastic band around your wrist, and all of it is going to touch the mat. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which way you go, as long as you imagine that every part of your wrist is going to touch the floor. Okay. Your other hand can be supporting you. And then try the other side. So you're going to give yourself support. Back of the hand starts. I tend to go elbow out. Roll the wrist around the floor. You have to tuck the thumb in. And then back the other way. So even though you're really massaging your wrists here, you're also working through your shoulder mobility. Okay? So a couple of rolls on either side should soften the wrists and get them really working, okay? The other thing you can try, and I'll show you with one hand, is try these wrist kind of pumps. So this is to get the forearm working. So you're going to look to hold your hands out and squeeze in and then extend out. Squeeze in and extend out. So this is a nice exercise to do as a repeated movement to start to work the forearms. And if you're really squeezing both ways, so by that I mean it's just drawing in and pushing out. You're not just flexing the wrist, you're squeezing an imaginary ball right in and then pushing it out as if you're throwing it. Don't move the elbow. So this is the forearm working. Keep going. Both hands squeezing in, pushing out. Squeezing in, pushing out. Squeezing in, pushing out. And last one, squeezing in, pushing out. This just starts to give you a bit of forearm strength as well as wrist mobility. Going to move on from here into the shoulders. So you kind of spent this time working through your wrists and elbows and up into the shoulders. To find softness in your shoulders, first of all, you need to find the broadness in your shoulders. So we're going to put this movement and then add the stretch to it afterwards. So this is to help you find your broadness across the back of your shoulders when you're using those muscles. What tends to happen for most of us, you can use a block here, or if you haven't got a block, you can use any kind of Tupperware tub that's about this sort of size, okay? Or if you've got like a softish child's book, or even, well, you'll find things at home. Be creative. Raid the garage. You're looking for something that you can squeeze in but that doesn't collapse when you push into it. You're going to place it on the floor and just put your hands either side of it and use that to give you a bit of a spacer for stacking your shoulders and wrists. So to begin with, we're just going to work the idea of finding the broadness of our shoulder. So what happens normally when we start to bear weight in our shoulders is that this happens. We dump the lower back and the shoulders pinch. So start by stabilizing the lower back by tucking the tailbone down slightly, broaden the back, and then push up through the shoulders. And hold that position just for a few breaths. Keep the lower back where it is. So we're not working cat-cow here, we're just playing with the mobility through your shoulders. So grounding through your hands, keeping your navel tucked, your tailbone down, drop through the shoulders and reach back up. Exhaling 2 and back up. Exhaling 3 and back up. And just start to keep a nice levelness in the back of the neck. That's 5. Feeling that you're working the shoulders. You might start to feel that one is tighter than the other, so pay attention to that. And know that maybe that's the side you need to take extra exhaling through, so really think about breathing into the side that feels tighter. Just a few more. And take one last, pushing up through. And keep the broadness that you created in your shoulder. Now drop down onto your forearms, but keep that broadness you created. And if you can, keep the tuck in the pelvis, so try not to dump here. Keep tucking, the back stays long, pubic bone moving towards navel. Grip your elbows on whatever you fashioned for a block or your block. Grip your fingertips into the floor. You can tuck your toes under to give you a little engagement through the legs. And you're going to start to repeat this movement. We're going to inhale, look at the thumbs, and lift up, shift the shoulder weight forward, exhale down. Inhale, come up, exhale, come down. So your shoulders are staying broad to grip the block, but you're moving with full function through your shoulders as you extend up and down. So you've stopped the ability to dump. Nice and steady. Go as fast or as slow as you like. Try and get yourself to either 15 or 20. I'm going to keep going. If you're moving with me, we've got to be nearing 15. Great. Now if this feels really easy, so by that I mean as you come out of it, there doesn't feel like there's any tension being created, you can extend and go a little deeper. So if you're really strong in the arms, but you still want to get that movement through, and you can deepen this. So this is a little bit of work on the legs as well. So you might want to play with this just to assess whether this is something that your body's ready for. Tuck the tailbone, come up, and come into your kind of down dog. So we're looking at a dolphin position here really. And what you're going to do, keep the navel working, drawing in. You're going to exhale, come down, inhale, come up. Exhale, we're just going to do 5 of these and back up. That's 3, nice and steady and back up. If you can get the block to really touch down and then come up, try and be honest with yourself. Good, I'm just taking 1 more. And back up. Drop down to your knees, relax the block. You can just keep that there, put your head there and come into child's pose, take a few breaths. And when you're ready, find your way back up and move your block to the side. And just finding a bit of a space to extend through the shoulders. So your last movement to work the shoulders, you're going to lift your right arm up and you're going to loop it through. So some people say this is like threading through the needle. Extend your arm through the gap. Try and get the palm facing the ceiling, back of the hand to the floor, bend the elbow on the supporting hand and drop down. This is also a twist through the shoulders. If it feels like you can't get to the floor, don't worry. Just have yourself as far as you can come. If you are releasing down, then try and relax through the shoulders as you touch down. You can come back up and take the same on the other side. So you can be flat-handed or fingertips, doesn't matter. Find your extension through the other side. And again, if you're not coming all the way down, you might want to just rest on the elbow and then come back up. Taking the same again. So exactly the same, dropping down, find your way all the way through as far as you can.